Hey guys, it's Nik the Booksmith. Welcome back, welcome back. Today I wanted to try a little reproduction project. You may have seen little notebooks like this. They have a little bail or loop at the top and they're meant to hang from pendants or keychains or whatever. Back in the day, I think it was more of a Chatelaine type of accessory. But anyway, there is a little writing utensil that goes in these little loops that hold the whole contraption closed. When you take the pencil out, then it opens and you can write on the paper. I'm trying to remember what brand this is. If I remember, I'll put it up on screen. It's just an inexpensive craft brand. I just can't think of what it was offhand. Anyway, I think this one's backwards though, because this is the pretty side, right, with the embossing. But when you open it, I mean, I guess you could write on it like this, but I think that would be a little cumbersome. I would think this would be the best way to write on it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anyhow, I don't remember how much this was. It was a few bucks, 4 or 5 maybe, but I thought, I bet we could replicate one with just some scraps that we have laying around. And maybe we can even make it a little better. Sound good? All right, so what I need to start with is some sort of hinge. Now, you can get these all kinds of places. Home improvement stores, Amazon, Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, you name it. Maybe even big box stores in their hardware department will have small hinges. This one is just shy of 1.25 inches. These happen to have 2 different widths on the leaves, but that doesn't matter. You won't see them anyway. This is a little bit smaller of one. You just want one that can close all the way down. Do you see how this one can shut all the way down? I just got some randos in here. So I'm going to use this one, even though it's got the 2 different sized leaves. It doesn't matter. So now, in lieu of using metal, which I'm not going to do for the covers itself, I will use some mat board or chipboard, something extra that you have laying around. I'm going to decide how long I want my little book to be. So if this one, let's just hold it up to this one. It's similar in width and it's similar in length. And now I need one for the back. So if I cut this one or cut this, I want it to be a tiny bit taller than this one because I want the board to come all the way up to the edge of this hinge and not just below it. Like, see how this one is just below the hinge? On this side, I want it to come up flush with the top. Then that way it can't open too far. Anyway, you'll see why later. Okay, so it just needs to be just a tiny, tiny bit taller. So I'm just gonna guesstimate probably, where's my, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch. So like 3 millimeters maybe. We'll do that. And this is my little quilting square thingy. I think it's a quilting square. I like it because it has all the different grid lines in different directions, so you can square things up before you cut them. It's kind of handy McDandiness. I'm going to just round over the edges a titch just to make sure that there's no jaggedy or sharp edges. I think this is a little too wide. It is. There we go. All right, now we have these two. And now grab a glove because I'm going to paint these black so that they'll have a nice background. And again, hopefully not look like chipboard. It's all about the deception. I'm not using much paint. I wouldn't say I'm dry brushing, but nearly dry brushing, so damp brushing. All right, I'll let these dry off for just a moment. And now I need to cut some paper. You can choose to use whatever kind of paper you want. It's not copy paper, it's not thick. And I think my papers are going to be just shy of 1.25 inches. I want them to be just a little bit narrower than the actual cover. I'm just eyeballing it. I want it to be, probably just make it the same height as the shorter board. And then that way it should be just shy of the whole kit and caboodle by the time I'm finished. I'm just going to cut a little reference piece here. See how many papers I end up with. Oh, 12 would be great. Yay! Okay, there are our 12 pages. Now, at this point, you have a decision to make if you want them perforated or not. And you're like, how in the heck am I supposed to perforate them? Well, one thing you could do is, I wouldn't do all 12 maybe. I probably, I don't know, cut it in half and take them over to the sewing machine, and without any actual thread in it, you could sew through the edge just to make holes. You could also do it with, I don't know, a pin or another Sharpie little pokey thing. I'm not going to at this moment because then I'd have to get up. Now, if these were equal in width on each side, it wouldn't matter. But since they are different, I'm going to use this longer side, I think, for the back. And I will make sure to put some of these hinges that I've used on my Amazon favorites list. Here is the longer piece, and I'm going to use super glue. I'm just going to dot it. And I'll take this. I'm just going to lay it right there on top. That looks even. Set that on top for just a moment. And do you see the holes in the hinge? That is going to be how I'm going to attach my papers. Then that way the papers can be swapped out with new papers. So it's not like a once and done thing, because that would be really sad. So I put it on the 1/8 inch punch. And of course you wouldn't have to use one of these. It's just easy for me, so I'm going to. You could just poke it with like an awl or something. Just be careful not to pull it loose. And put this in here. And this actually should fit right through that hole. Just very serendipitous. So there is the back. if I want to go ahead and stack up my papers and place them inside, just try to center them a little bit. I think a bulldog clip or whatever these binder clips are will probably hold a little bit better than that pink clip. There we go. And if I wanted to just use this again, just to punch through everything, easier said than done, but quicker in the long run, that's for sure. Ta-da! Lovely. To hold those in, I'm going to use some of these little brads. You could also run a piece of string or something through there as well. And I'm going to cut this a little shorter because these are a little longer than I need. There's one. And I got these on Amazon too. Super cheap and 6 colors. Like, I will never have to buy mini brads again, I think. Can't imagine running out. And this can go in here like so. Let's see if I cut them short enough. Might need to be a little shorter. Of course, I could always do them in this direction if I wanted to. I'll do that for now. And where is, oh, I have this little tiny mallet. Just lay that down and give those a little bit of a pound, and then that way everything's nice and neatly flat. All right, so now for the front cover, we have the little bit shorter of a piece, and basically I'm just going to line it up with the bottom, and it will be glued on this front piece. I'm going to take this little piece of plastic and put it underneath here just so that I don't get super glue where I don't want super glue. And I will dot that. Now, if I hold this upright, just press down on that. I think we're golden. And there we go. It opens. Now I have some covers that I created in Photoshop, which is not even remotely necessary. But you all know how unnecessary I can be. And I like this composition notebook one. Modern take on it, a chatelaine accessory. Isn't that going to be cute? So cute. All right, I will put that on in a minute, but I'm not going to do it right this moment because, where's the real one? I want to create a pen or a pencil, something for the side. So what I have decided to do is I'm going to take just a cheapo ballpoint pen from the dollar store and take that sucker apart. And I have this brass tubing, and this is the K&S brand, and as you can see I got it on clearance for $5 at a store. Who knows where? I know that they have this brand all kinds of places, all kinds of hobby stores, Ace Hardware, Amazon, you name it, they got it. And one of these, was it this one? I already cut a piece off. I'll give you an option for this here in just a second. But I took a small pipe wrench and I fit it in there, and basically you tighten it up and it's got a little blade in there, and you just spin the little pipe and it just cuts through it. And of course it's hollow like a straw because you can't use a solid rod now, can you? But this is the one that fit, and I thought, how cute is that? Another thing you could use is you could wrap it with tape, like washi tape or, you know, electrical tape. And then also like heat shrink tube. I don't know how well the the tube itself would hold up if you actually tried to heat shrink around it. But like this little pack of tubing, there are over 500 pieces in here. Again, I got this on Amazon for like, it was under $10. So this one fits around it pretty snug, but I didn't think that was wide enough. So then I took one of the next size bigger, so this is the black one, and then that fit right over the top. And those could be glued on and then you'd have a nice grip. So you could do that, or like I said, you could just wrap tape around it, or you know, something. But I'm gonna use brass tubing because I'm being extra today. Oh! Put my gloves back on because now I have to cut this down, which is very easy to do. I'm gonna put this in here and then I'm going to mark, if I can find, hopefully this will show up. But I know that I need to cut it shorter than that. But that's just for my, you know, my guesstimation. And basically I'm just gonna take some scissors because the ink in here is like gel. It's not liquid. So I'm gonna cut about, look at this direction, shy of where I cut it. And of course that's just plastic, so that's easy. Dab that off. And now I'm gonna take a brad. I will take one that matches the brass. And this goes in here. And what's nice is that when you cut the brass with this pipe cutter type thing, which again, you can get these on Amazon or Home Depot or wherever. Come on, camera. The end that you cut on the thing will have this beveled edge. See how this is the other edge and this is the edge I cut with the pipe cutter. It like pinches it in a little bit. Welders and pipe fitters and stuff, they don't necessarily want that and they stretch that back out and make it round. But in this case, it works to my advantage because it holds the pen in. And then this brad, just the right size, to slide in the end of that pen tube where the ink is, and it might make a mess, so beware. Guess it doesn't need to be in the brass right now, does it? So I just press that brad into the end of the ink tube, like so. And then it can go back in here like this. So if you wanted to have like a snugger, is that a word? Snugger fit? I'm just going to put like one layer of tape around the end of the pen. And maybe that will serve as enough width to keep everything. There we go. Your mileage may vary. So there is my little brass pen. So now I need some little loops to hold that in place. What I'm going to do is, again, that same company, S&K or K&S or whatever, I got some real thin sheet brass. And you can cut this with like scissors. So what I need to do is I need to make 2 loops that fit around my pen. And of course, you can use your imagination to figure out something else that you would rather use. If you don't have any brass like this, you could even probably cut down an aluminum can or something if you wanted it to be metal. I suppose there's all kinds of things you could use. Maybe short elastic. Where did I put? Oh. Maybe just regular wire in little loops. Some of these clippity clips. I'm going to put some super glue in there. And that should hold here in just a moment. And I put the pen in there just to make sure that it's going to fit, because this brass is so thin that you can easily bend it out of shape. So there's one. Perhaps I'll use this guy and give that just a moment. All right, so now we have 2. And one of them will get attached to the inside front cover, and the other one will get attached to the inside of the back cover. And I'm going to dry fit these. I'll take this one out. And this is a little fiddly. So if you want to mark with a pencil where you want them to be, or, you know, that kind of thing, go for it. And super glue is pretty, quick. However, I shall give it a little bit of assistance for 10 or 20 seconds just to make sure everything is all stuck. Okay, I think we're good. And then this one gets placed on the inside of the front cover. And I think I will mark that. It's going to get covered, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Super glue to the rescue. Put a piece of plastic in here. Just my luck to get everything all put together, and then it's all super glued shut. Make sure that the pen still fits. That's integral. And it looks good. Yay! All right, I'll leave that plastic in there for just a few minutes. Now I can put on the front cover. The other thing that I wanted to do is some kind of something to hang it from. And I do have some jewelry bails. They are silver, which kind of bugs me, but what are you gonna do? It is what it is, because that's all I have. That is it, my friends. So again, with the super glue, that's probably way too much. And I will clamp that for just a moment to get that set. Jewelry glue would have been great too, but again, I'd have to get up, so that's why that didn't happen. So definitely use whatever adhesive, floats your goat. So on the inside, I'm going to take some of this paper and make kind of like a little end paper. There we go, and then that fits on the inside, and it covers that, the edge of that, the brass. I shall take just some white glue. That'll hold it down. I want to be generous, but not excessive. I will close that. And on the front, we'll go the little composition image. I took a Sharpie and went around the edge to hide the white cut edge. I think I'm running out of glue in this thing. And then that will just get placed on top like so. I will hit this up with some brush on sealer. But how cute is that? Be even better if this was gold because then it would all match, or if everything else was in silver. I have some other tubing, and this is made out of aluminum, and this also you can get at the hardware store, and it cuts real easily too. I don't know if there's any on Amazon, but if there is, I'll put it on the list. But how sweet is that? It's a little different, but similar. Maybe a little cheaper. And like I said, there are other substitutions that you could use for, you know, the pen doesn't have to be covered in a brass tubing, and the hinges are kind of integral. I mean, I guess you could just use fabric, have a fabric hinge. It would have to be something pretty sturdy like canvas or something like that. Maybe like a canvas duck or a twill. I'll go get a little cord to put that on. So cute, right? I think it's semi-useful, not totally impractical, and kind of adorable. Here is another one I made. This one, I put the little supports up a little bit higher. I think I like them lower though. And this pen has the shrink tubing that I showed you around it. The chain is just kind of like a pulpit chain that I attached to the bail and then to the front, just for added interest. But it works the same way. These brads were cut the right length. So this one's more of an ancient looking book. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little project. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope everybody is having an excellent week, and I will see you really, really soon in the next video. Bye, guys.